I haven't got my Gabrielle to click all the buttons for me. Rightio. Well, Tanya, so since you're fresh off the block, you want to start on what you've got hanging around or not hanging around?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, because because my husband's, as obviously your husband is the worker. I mean,
Yep.
I work on different things, but I don't know. My life's become a little bit boring, but at the same time, I love it because, each morning I kind of go out, have coffee, eat breakfast, I catch up with the girlfriend, go for a walk with my dog. It's like, is that how it should be? Should I feel guilty, or is that just how I've created my life right now?
Yep. And I know, I think, is there a question of what you think you should be doing?
Yeah, there is actually. I'm like, okay, so I've done this in my life, this in my life, this in my life, but now I'm not using it. Like I'm not doing what I thought I should be doing.
Yep.
So that's what I'm trying to work out.
Consolidate into something. Which is the same. I can say that too, because you've got all the different tools that you've picked up, and haven't utilised a hell of a lot of mine. I've consolidated them into obviously bits and pieces as I pass, but at this present point, I'd have to say I'm on the same playground. Yet, it's kind of like not bad. It's not getting on yourself It's not trash talking yourself or bullying yourself into thinking that you should be doing something. And just being open to what presents itself in every moment.
Yeah. And it's amazing what, when you have the time to relax and you're feeling a little bit more peaceful and you have this freedom. So there's a lot of freedom, but I'm not used to having that.
Yeah, which is what everyone's desire is, to have freedom.
Yeah, and now I've got it. It's like,
which is a good. Yeah, which is a good, interesting thing, because so when people have this desire and destination to get somewhere in life, right?
Yeah.
And so when they get there, they experience it, and then they either want more or they're looking for what's wrong with it.
Yeah. So I shouldn't be looking for what's wrong with it. It should just be, it is just what it is.
It's what it is. Yeah. And trusting that something triggers. Like I sit there and I think, I haven't done anything. And then, okay, for example, the other night, I was sitting around talking to a couple of friends. We're having a late cup of tea, and meanwhile, someone's texting me, getting me information, and someone else has messaged me, getting information, and that's my day consumed by interaction, sharing different. You don't think I'm doing nothing.
Yeah.
And the people you meet, the moments that you have, instead, because we've ritualed, and like Alexia, we're going into a world of you get a job, you earn this, you do this, and this is how you get from A to B to C to D, and Alexia, when you get to our age, and we got from the place that we're playing at the moment, it's like we're looking at going, now we've done all that, and we have the freedom that we want, and we're still looking for something.
But is that because our husbands can provide that for us, or is that out because you've worked in the past and I've worked in the past as well, and it's always like I've got to work hard, I've got to get this, I've got to have this many, I've got to have this type of job, I've got to have this type of career. And now that I'm pulling back and going, do I need it? And it's only when the thoughts come in that I'm feeling a bit guilty, or should be doing it, that I start to feel uncomfortable and edgy. Whereas today I took myself down to Merrick's, met up with a couple of people there, and I was free. I could just drive wherever I wanted to, and I didn't put the thoughts into my head that I should be doing this. So I noticed that when I put the thoughts in, that's when I start to feel like shit. So I haven't done that today. So I'm like, this is all right. This is good.
It is definitely a program that you're reprogramming, really. You're running a new system, because your old formula is go to work, earn money, do this, get this. And at the end of the day, and you'll be seeing, like, young kids today will create something out of nothing. They'll grab hold of the passion, they'll follow it, and they'll make a job out of it. And it's not a job because they're having fun. So they're already at the point of an aspect of freedom, because they're doing something that they enjoy and that they can, and so it becomes a whole different, whereas the old generation would go to work from 9 to 5 to earn the income and have that, but it wouldn't be enjoyable.
Yeah.
So
So Lexi, how old are you, Lexi?
I'm 19.
Oh, you're 19. Oh wow. And are you working at the moment?
Yeah, and studying as well.
Yeah. Oh, good. 19. Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
The youngest one we've had.
Yeah.
And so keep it real.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
Lexi's point of view, how do you see it?
I guess I kind of am in the same situation, but different, obviously. I'm more like, well, what am I going to do next year that like can kind of help me down the track when I get older, kind of thing. Yeah, like I don't know where I want to base myself town-wise and kind of where I want that to lead me in the future. Yeah, I'm a bit stuck.
Yeah, but I think for an aspect of the wisdom today that what we didn't have then, which is what Lexi's actually tapping into and changing probably lifestyle ways, is that it's having an awareness that that's a thought process, but her awareness right here, right now is what are you doing? Let's just enjoy this present moment and stay and allowing that to come to a place and unfold. She has ideas, but don't constrict them into a way and this is how it's got to be, because then you're going to miss the opportunities that come. Does that sound right?
Yeah. And that's like what I've been focusing on, is just to kind of be in the moment now, and then whatever happens is what will happen and where I'll go, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you've got that at your age now, that's beautiful, because some of us don't get that until we're 30s. I'm in my 40s. I don't even know what you are, Alison, but
50,
don't.
darling, 50.
You're 50. Well, there you go. So you know, if you can learn that now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. At 19.
And I think the big thing is, Tanya, you might have to ask, what is freedom and what did you think freedom was? And now that you have a sense of freedom, is it what you... Yeah. And so that's
exactly it is.
You ask for it and you get it, yet as a human we now go and find something wrong with it, or we want to find something because that's our natural format. Our programming is that we cannot be presently happy because we're always looking for something else, or thinking, is there more, or should I be doing something, or what, instead of just sitting and having your coffee and enjoying that moment. And whoever you bump into, like today we went out later, cup of tea, and we ended up with the owner of the cafe sitting out in the sun chatting life, and she goes, oh my God, I went in there and there's a whole lot of people standing around waiting to be served, and I've been out here chatting that whole time. And yet there was just nobody around us out the back. Do you know what I mean? So it's that we enjoyed that, she enjoyed that. It's just having those moments that turn up without controlling them, and where they lead to. You don't know. Yeah. Everything has, as much as like Lexi was saying a few minutes ago, it's thinking about what I can do to help this, to do this. In those moments, often you might meet that right person or whatever, because you haven't got any control. You're not just going there, I'm going here for a cup of coffee and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. You go there, you sit down and you present yourself, and then there's a whole lot of interactions that come on by that are huge possibilities. Okay, the other day I had a coffee and I went into the store 15 town in town, and I was sitting down there and I was just like, oh, this lady was sitting down in she at my table, she said. So we sat down and she said to me, and she got on, and her first thing was, oh, I've just come back from Croatia, I think she was. And I went, oh, how nice. She said, oh yeah, we've got a place over there. And then first thing she did was go, oh, I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to sell my, that I've got this and blah, 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 and she went into defense. And I was going, oh, mate, good on you. That's so cool. Don't apologize for having another home somewhere else. Like, seriously. So she's sitting there, and then it's like we got on to talking about, shifting where we'd like to be. And the weather obviously was cooler, so we'd prefer a different climate, and having houses here, there, and there. And the funny thing is she started to relax because there was just nothing. It was her having her story and her sharing, and it was okay to have 5 houses, 6 houses. It really didn't bother me.
Yeah.
And she was sitting there having coffee, presenting this to me, and I was going, wow, that's so cool. That's me. Yeah, a place there and a place there. Out of this, yeah, I totally, yeah. And the last thing is she gives me a cuddle. We cuddle, as I do. And we cuddle as she leaves, and she goes, I hope to bump into you in another cafe, and make sure you come and say hello.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
But it's just, and they were heading out to a familiar cafe as well. So she was to meet family later on. So it's kind of funny. There was a lot of synchronicities. So it'll be interesting if I ever run into her again and see, But it's those moments, and you don't know where those moments take you, and you don't know whether. I think my sister once said she had someone come into the bank, and 2 days later they came back and thanked her because they were, when she was in Australia, they were on the edge of their life thinking about, this is it, I can't do. But she presented that moment of conversation, whatever it was, that changed his way of thinking.
Yeah.
So it's in the freedom and in the presence, you have the power to be placed in a place where you're truly fully needed with the full attention of your being. And I think that is more the gift. It's not, and I don't think anybody I'm free to say I don't work. Yet, what is work? How do you define work?
I think working on yourself is one of the biggest things. I wish I had done that at 19, Lexi. I had worked more at 19, but you learn these things. But because I have 2 sons, I've got a 19-year-old Lexi, and he's moved out of home. He's doing an apprenticeship. And I wrote to Ella the other day because when I left his unit, he's living with a flatmate. I was just so emotional. I had to pull over, scoffed, pigged out on Red Rooster, and I just felt this wave of emotion just wash over me because I didn't want to go home and cry in front of my husband because it should be a happy experience because I was so happy to see him. But when I went back to the unit, it was just, simple, like just boys, just a simple, very basic house. And as much as I wanted to do stuff, it just wasn't that place because we'd gone shopping out and just hung out with each other. Then I went back and watched an episode of Seinfeld, sat on his bed, and it was a bit, I said, this is really weird. This is odd. He's like, it is, isn't it? So then I just felt like this yearning. Oh my God, and then when I got home, I was literally exhausted. And then I went to work. Well, I do work a couple of days a week. So, but then I felt I was no shininess. I just was so flat, and I got nothing to give to anybody today. I've got nothing to give to the customers. I don't even know how anyone wants to see me like this. But when I walked in, I was like, this is all right. It's just in the moment. And I ended up having such a good day, and whatever I was feeling just got me straight out of it. And then I thought, you silly girl, what are you doing? Like, your son's happy. He's moving on. It's my stuff. And I know that's the next chapter for me. And I'm like trying to hang on to that feeling of, oh, you know what I mean? So it only lingered for a good day, like a whole day it lingered. And just this sadness, and I said to my sister, fucked up. I'm really fucked up in the moment. She's like, me too. Like, me too. And so, but it was just a moment, but it was a long moment. So I couldn't get myself out of it and didn't know why I felt so down and when I should be so happy. But it's just when you So, and then today I had a great day. Caught up with a couple of went to work, ended up being people that worked there that had the day off. We all just were there, and then had a beautiful day. And so I learnt that if I have all this built up energy, either talk it out or walk it out. Walk it, go to the beach, and then I'm set for the rest of the day. So yes, crazy mum.
No, it's finding what works for you.
Yeah,
And that happy and the flat and the your shininess that you felt you lost, it's always there. I just think sometimes you get into humans, from my experience, is that we get into an experience that we feel something, so we expect to be playing there all the time. So when we're not there, we're going for looking for what's wrong instead of just being where we are in every moment. So if we are feeling emotional, just stay with it and express it and allow it to be. Don't live in it 24/7 and have it for a lifetime. That's a choice, but the experience is here to be had. So when you're not fighting those, they can just come in waves and come and go, and that's the more presentness of the. And again, what you found and you said today, and which I used to, and I think I've said to you before. First, it's like you learn something, and it might be and it's taken you months to get to that. Then it takes you weeks, and then it takes you days, and then it takes you hours, and then it takes you minutes, and that's just the process of having choices in every moment. And if you're running an old program, you know, what's our normal thing? We fall back into automatic program and stay, and then it's just.
But it doesn't feel good. So why do we stay there if it doesn't feel good? And that's what I tell myself.
Okay. So the only reason it doesn't feel good is because we know a different feeling. It's not that it's good or bad. We've made the decision that there's one or the other.
Yep.
So it's not a good or bad feeling until we make it a good or bad feeling. It's just a feeling. It's just an experience.
Yeah.
And there's preferably grounds that we enjoy more playing in. That's all it is. And so, but don't deny the playground. Don't deny the playground, because then you're suppressing, which we were talking about last week, is suppressing emotion, and when you suppress emotion, it builds up and builds up and builds up, and then boom, it's got to hit you at some point.
Yeah.
But I think
laughing about it, when you can, and I ended up laughing at myself that night. What the hell is going on? Like,
you're human.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's okay. So I just actually said to myself, just accept it. It's where you're at. Just it is what it is. So but snapped out of it usually, and I can see how, some people don't get that. They can stay in that and stay in it for years and just don't know how to get out of it. And I can see that's when people then go towards addictions, alcohol, drugs, and all that.
Yeah.
I get that. But I'm not like that at all, but it's good to be able to just go, you know what, I don't want to be in this anymore. It is what it is, but it's
we all have choices.
Get out of it. Yeah. You just feel like you're stuck in it at that time. You're just there and you're.
Well, I think with an age and experience, and if you've done it for 30, 40 years and it's that program, whereas like if Lexi's doing things at 16, 17, 18, 19 and she's learning that, she's only got that short term to filter through, so she's going to shift a lot quicker. And I hate saying that, but I know it. I've watched it. I've seen kids that you can talk to at 15, 16, tell them something and they change it. And you say the same thing to a 35-year-old lady or man or whatever, and they'll be back. They just don't get it, and it just keeps. And they might get it, but it's a lot harder work. It's like I said to you about quite a few times, is that when Mum and Dad used to get up and say, they used to say, "Oh, the weather's," and I do it too. Oh, shit weather, and it's like, instead of being, "Oh, I'm so grateful I got out of bed this morning, my legs, and I had a warm shower." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, Lex. Go to Lex, because Lex, you had something to say before.
I was just gonna mention how I watched a video. I think it was a TED talk about how our feelings are like a brain that expects how we feel from past experiences, kind of thing. Like it's a prediction or something. Yeah. So I've been finding myself just kind of seeing how I feel in the moment when things happen, and then I kind of have time to think to myself, right, well, you need to feel a bit differently about this so it's not like that in the future, kind of thing. Yeah.
Nice. And all again, I think from what you're saying is that you're becoming present to the moment, to the experience, and then picking a choice of how you want to play. So what a gift at 19.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, amazing. And keep that going, because learning about yourself, your thoughts and your feelings, if you can grasp that at 19.
I think that's it's coming to peace with yourself and your story and all your scenarios, and then when something does crop up, it is what it is, whether it's a big drama, a little drama, or a sadness or a happiness. It just is, and you can be present to it, yet it doesn't have to dominate you for the rest of your experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Awesome. Love it.
Okay. And you got anything?
I can't imagine Lexi joining a Zoom room at 19. I wouldn't even. But this is fantastic. I was too busy out partying, so this is like, this is good.
She's probably done all that.
But she's here now.
Yeah, she started younger probably than us. No, that's so cool. And you've got good resources, and you know, that's the thing. I think she's looked out for different things and got your own formula, your own way, and I think in a gift to her is that it's allowing everyone else to have theirs through their experience, but don't hold any judgment against it, which is what we've been saying. And you know, and you've had some really hard, like Lex had some really hard life skills that she's gone through, so she's just chosen a way and found a way that works for her. And I think that's it. I think it's just there's a you have a lot to offer a lot of other people, Lex, in a lot of ways, because of the choices and the way you're doing things, and you'll find you'll attract people and give them a different. Some might want to hear it, some won't want to hear it, and at the end of the day it's perfect. It doesn't matter either way, but I always believe if you're there and you can offer that, it gives them a gap or an opportunity or a chance. It's almost like it's almost like saying to someone, you know, actually we were talking today about, you know, that Are You Okay campaign, and it's like we do that every day. We do that. It's our norm. You know, for us, it's a norm that whether we cuddle someone or touch someone, or if someone's not, you just kind of, it's just a natural state of being. Yet it's almost like one day a year we bring this campaign out, and it's like, so everyone ticks off one day out of 365 days, I've done it. You know, and we were talking, Dee and I today. It's like, like Mother's Day, Father's Day. You know, all those days. It's one day a year. We'll tick those off. It's every day. It's every moment. It's not, you know.
You're just not asking that, but you're there. You're still there present. You're not saying, "Are you okay?" Someone, if I ask all my friends, "Are you okay?" They'll be like, "Why are you asking me that for?" So,
well, most of the friends know that you could probably come and ask us, so that'll be okay. But about what I'm saying is, it's a valid campaign. I'm not mocking it. About what I'm saying, as a human, it would be nice to be our natural state of being, and without having to create that space. Anyway, Lex, have you got anything you'd like to share, or chat about, or think about?
I don't know.
You just
just like that thing. It's just kind of nice to keep myself in such a positive mind all the time. Like, just even at work, if I'm really tired, I still will just take in the customers and how they are. And I love work so much because I always get a different person, and I kind of just get like a different vibe from them all the time. And it's always nice to just give them a different person to talk to, because I genuinely try and make conversation, and some customers don't want a conversation at all, and it's like, I understand that, that's okay, like, okay. But
you're being nice.
I don't take it to heart or anything, and I've gotten a lot better with trying to, I guess, seek an understanding why people are the way they are, kind of thing.
Do you think, here's an interesting question, do you think as you've got to know yourself better, you've found no need to know the reason another person is having? They're just having that moment. It is what it is. Do you think that's come from getting to and that's kind of cool, because
I have like a big trust in everything happens for a reason. Like, it's a typical saying, but like, it generally does happen for a reason. And it's either opening it up for something else to happen, or it was just meant to happen, kind of thing.
Not too deep looking.
And where do you work, Lexi?
I work at a petrol station.
Oh, okay, nice. You see lots of people.
Yes.
And then what are you studying?
I'm studying mechanics.
Mechanics.
Yeah. I'm training to be a mechanic.
I love the look on. I was waiting. I love the look on Tanya's face here. She's like,
I love it.
it's this beautiful, beautiful girl. You know, mechanic.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
You can rock it.
Yeah.
No, she's
absolutely.
We're talking about like cosmic cars.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. See, every girl, I think that's awesome. You know, you can fix your own car without getting a man to do it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Good girl.
A man.
Good girl. It's awesome. Yeah, well done. Yeah,
Thank
awesome.
Yeah, Petra, and that's the thing. That's the other thing. These, my uncle used to say, the best job he ever had was pumping petrol. That was really funny. Not that people pump petrol in today's world, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He, but that was his favourite thing because he was chatting up people and they come and go. So it was changing moment by moment by moment. You weren't getting stuck in an arena of there's somebody shitty jumping, but you know they're going to leave.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, goodbye.
But in saying that, then if they're in a shitty mood and they come to see you, Lexi, and you're nice to them, that just might change their whole day. Like it can, you know.
I know, and that's what I say to myself.
Yeah. And also, on the other hand, if they're coming to you shitty and you're not feeling anything and you're allowing them their expression, you know you're in a good place. But if you're reacting, then you know, okay, I've got my own shit going on. So it's a beautiful, beautiful playground. Yeah.
What are they reflecting to? That's what we're doing. I always, before I judge, I'm like, pull it back, Tanya. Just this ain't about them. It's about. I'm impatient. I was in the grocery store. I'm like, come on, mate. And I'm like, what am I in a rush for? Just settle down. And then I let it go. But I could feel it. And I'm like, let it go. And then you come more at peace with it. So
and I think that's really important, is that recognizing. So great share those from next, even for anyone to our age.
I know.
It's just turn up and do your thing, and don't know where I'm going, but you know you're going somewhere. And I think that's the most important thing. And I know you as a person anyway, that there's nothing that you're never going to sit around and like, I can't be bothered, even though I'm in that space. But you know what I mean? That whole, there's too much out there for you to do and enjoy, and you know that. So it's just not in your ethic. And I think that's the whole thing. People get to a bit when, they'll get lazy, they'll do this, they'll do this, they'll do this. At the end of the day, I think in everybody's, it really doesn't matter, but in everybody's experience, they want to experience something, or they so the desire is always there. It's just finding that desire, and when it turns up, it'll spark. And I think that's what I'm getting to with you, Tanya, is that there's also a process of enjoying doing nothing, enjoying being bored, enjoying being in all those experiences, because this is a time right here, right now. That's what it's here to be experienced. So you've had all these other busy experiences, and you've had the working experience, you've had this, trillions of experiences right here, right now. It is about being, it's about being bored. How can I enjoy being bored so much? It's so good. I would say to people, I'm a bit bored, but that bored is actually probably as good as having fun, which is what I was saying to you early. What I was saying to you early on, and leveling out the emotional scale and the playing grounds and stuff, instead of having good on one end and bad on the other, love on one end and fear on the other, anger and fun. It's being able to play in them and be okay with them, and that not differentiating them so significantly.
Because it is, I see all my friends, at my age, their kids are a lot younger than mine, and some of them are 14, and they're just like this, I've got no time, and they're frazzled, and it's like, wow. So then here's me. I just went out and did a few stretches, went out to my little room, did what I wanted to do. And as I lied there and I was doing a few stretches, I'm like, they would be like running around making dinner. My husband made dinner. He worked full time and he's done dinner. And I'm like, no housework, no nothing. He doesn't care. He's like, my house is clean, but he doesn't. That's the beauty of it. It's like,
it's an interesting experience, though, isn't it, to go into? Because I've had the luxury of Murray, which Lexi does know, and he'll come around and he'll do bits. He'll clean, he'll wash, he'll cookie, or do everything, and I'm still doing nothing, and I'm sitting there going, and then
are lucky.
I know. I don't know. I just said, I kind of looked at it. Is that well created, well manifested?
Yeah.
Whatever. But I don't know. There's also, so for us at the moment, there's a whole vibe change, because obviously, we want to go to Queensland. That's our desire. That's our place. So there's a trigger of excitement and change in there, so there's a new playground formulating. So that's why I'm saying enjoy the freedom and the play and whatever. I think everything is freedom. I think it's our thinking it's not that makes it not. Even with Lex having the choices in what she's doing, and even though it might seem like she's doing a degree or study and her work stuff, but there's still aspects of freedom. It's only when we turn up that it can be different. If it's a grind and a job and I've got to do it to earn the money to do this, then you've got a whole different experience happening. But for us, we've got excitement of the unknown, of course, and and change often brings that too. Like change, that next thing may unfold, Tanya, and I can tell you next week what I'll be doing. But at this particular time, I'm enjoying chatting online, going for coffees, and just hanging out, really. Just living. I mean, it's no different to someone getting up to work. It's just that if you told someone, but they've got this much time and they can do this. Everyone has it. It's a choice. Even though we think we don't, even though we think we have to go out and earn that. The reality is it's meeting criteria for your lifestyle that you're choosing to have at this point in time. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot more that I could go out. I could go and get a job and have even more to add to this. But and I would enjoy that. What I'm saying is that when you find something in here that you're happy with, that's reflected. It doesn't matter what you add to it or what you take away from it. You're already in it. And so it's not bad being bored, eh?
And it's not. I don't even think it is bored. I think it's just when you're so used to doing this and doing that and working this, and then the other day in my head I'm like, I could be doing this. I should. And then in like the should have, I should be doing this. Why aren't I running this place? And why, all the what I felt was skill set. Have I wasted it? No. I think if anything, I don't know. That's what I'm questioning when other people go, oh my God, you could be doing this, and oh my God.
So is it theirs or is it yours? That's what you're going to decipher to start with, the question itself. And also the skill set that we gain is always attainable, usable, doable, whatever. I think it's a bit curious. I think it's about picking out. So again, I've done a bit of hypnotherapy. I probably had a couple of clients, and my thing out of that was like, I don't want to be doing that with people when I can tell them this and it's easier. Like seriously, they could do it themselves. Like, and so you learn the next thing and you start going, oh, but everybody can do this. So, you just like, so the theory is instead of making a business for yourself, you just want to keep giving all the shit out.
So you have just answered with the Inner Shine for Girls. Here I am going, okay, I'm going to bring back the workshops. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then I just had this moment where I just went, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But I thought that I go to work and I work with girls 19 up to 25 and I'm doing it there. But for me, that's what I love the most about it. So then I start to pull back and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to bring it back and I'm going to do this. For what reason? And that's where I'm like, what's stopping me? Of course, I'm stopping because if I really wanted to go for it, I'd make it happen. And I'm like, why isn't it happening? So.
I totally get you on this. I totally get you because there's such a variety of skills that I've picked up along the way. Yet, but then there's this other thing that I see that we do it every moment wherever we are. Because we're not limiting it to come to this. I'm sitting at a cafe, and if that person matches my vibe and attracts and sits next to me, I can often upsell the scenario to a better space, which they walk off and they've gained a shitload of free skills, and they're feeling a shitload better, and they're going into the next experience not getting shitty at the person they were going to see because they've actually worked out what the shit was going on with them. So you've kind of and that's a cup of coffee, and it's all the stuff that we've gained along the way.
Put all the hard work in to do that. It's just come naturally, organically. So Yeah.
And you have to trust the support system too. If you want, if somebody's out there going, oh yeah, but you can do that because your husbands are working and whatever. The support system is that if you want to get into having a belief around life, and if you put out there good shit comes back. That's a thing. That's what people believe. And I just think, be who you are, and a life will be that.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to do. There shouldn't be. I'm doing this because that's what I'm going to get out of it. There shouldn't be any of that. For me.
No, it just feels good, and that's why I think if I was to start something from home, it's like what you just said. I just want it to happen organically and naturally. That's what feels better.
Okay. So a tip I can give you is you're meeting a new level of consciousness, which is, I'm using terminology, which is just another way of being. But in meeting that, there is nothing to do. Yeah. And now it's an organic, benevolent outcome instead of a controlled outcome of how you need it to be. So when you're doing, and there's always space in the world to play this way. So when you're doing workshops and bits and pieces and blah blah blah, you do them and they turn up at this time, they do this, and you've controlled this part of the world and this part of the life experience and all those avenues. So what I'm saying is, when you function from this place where it's just, I turn up, or I don't know when I turn up because I don't. I just, now I was leaving the house 3 times today and it didn't check it till that time. So when the moment comes and you're there, you're actually accessible on a huger level, benevolent outcome, I would call it, allowing everybody to help everybody for the bigger outcome. So it's not just holding 5 or 6 people in a group. You're now opened yourself up to hundreds of thousands of people and that opportunity. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Even just that person that you meet at the beach, or the person at the cafe,
or the pump, or petrol, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I always, for me, when I go into a petrol station, it's a big difference of who's behind that counter, because some of them just like, hey, and that's okay. Or some of them are just too busy, and then you got a card, and I'm like, oh, okay. But to walk in, I think no matter what you do. If you're just being you and you're good as in you are, Lexi, and just nice to people, that is probably just as good as if you were sitting in an office earning $300,000 a year. Like, in all, there's a money difference, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's the money talk stuff. Yeah, there is no difference. Yeah,
it's and I think I realize it's not the money at the end of the day. We need money, but as Allison's taught me, that is. It is a form of energy, and it is who we are. So when I started understanding that a little bit more money was coming in to us. I've got my Bali fund money now. It's just there. My little bit of my money coming from work's just going straight in there. A few things are selling it, so it's just there. It's without me going.
And I think that's that beautiful organic. And I think that's where we're heading.
I like that. It feels better.
Same. I feel that's all I can touch on. And I think that's where the world is heading now, more so than we need to go to work to there. And that's just why the kids of today irritate the older generation, because of the take, I love doing this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to travel the world, take photos, and then all of a sudden they're getting paid to take, because they've got this brand and this brand and this brand, and then someone wants them over, and they've made a career out of living instead of living to make a career.
Living to make a career. Yep. And I remember doing that, living to have a career.
Well, I just had kids as well, so that's just I just keep popping kids out.
And it was the kids, that's right. And it's really satisfying when I can take my son, my younger one, still to high school, I can drop him off, I pick him up. And I love it. Like, I can do that. That's so good. Like, I love that. I'm like, I can do this for him. I got to quickly tell you girls, this is just a simple thing of how people want something else for. I'm sort of getting off the track, but my younger son, he has got to choose an elective for year 9 next year.
Yep.
And he didn't realise it was either he wanted to get into the basketball program because he's a basketball fanatic.
Yep.
So that was his main elective. But it went into the same block with Japanese. Well, apparently he was told that he's having Japanese, not basketball. And he come back and told me that. And I was like, oh, why? And she goes, oh, and he come back and said to me, because I don't know, I've gone off track. Come back, Tam. Okay. So anyway, he come back and told me, I'm thinking about 5 different things here. Yeah. He came back and said, I don't want to do Japanese, Mum. I wanted to do basketball. So I got in contact with his teacher, and she says, I think it's really good for Kay to do Japanese. You know, students need to have another language. It's really important to have a second language. And I'm listening to her, and I said, but he loves sport. He loves sport. And she goes, yeah, but this is temporary. So for his future, I can make a decision based on this temporary decision, because for his future, it is better for him to have a language. And so I started almost believing her, and I'm like, hang on a second. So I come home, spoke to my husband, and Kate's like, I'm not doing Japanese. I don't want to go to Japan. I don't want to learn Japanese, Mum. I love basketball. And my husband's exactly the same. He goes, he'll probably be a sports teacher. That's all he wants to do is sport. So I wrote this lovely little email to the teacher today. I said, I respect and appreciate that you're the teacher and that you want the best interest for my son, but I want what's best for my son, and that is for him to do the basketball program. So thank you so much. Japanese is not the second language for him. And it felt like she was telling me what she wanted for my son. No, don't tell me what. Oh, it's my son's decision to make. You know what I'm saying? It's his choice. I'm not going to tell my son, you have to do Japanese because you need a second language. If you want a second language down the track, you'll learn.
Yeah, that's
so,
yeah.
I'll just come out of the
No. That's a valid chat. And like Tyler at the moment is like, oh well, if I go to uni, I'll learn 5 languages by the time I'm finished. And I'm like, oh yeah, if that rocks your boat. See, whereas I'd be for the kid that plays basketball, not for the fucking kid that plays language. But that's okay. But that's the difference in children.
Yes,
that's the difference in children, and identifying that. And again, in today's world, you don't need what you think you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't stop them going from what they want to do. Let's face it. We'll use Tyler as an example. Tyler likes educate. Tyler likes frigging going to. You can imagine him going to uni because that rocks his boat. That sort of shit sitting down. Like his latest drama, you know, and albeit real, but at his latest drama, he just walked in before, and I'm like, oh my god. He said, you know, there's no New Zealand history on something, and I said, like, he's looked up on the internet and blah blah blah, and he's missed out on understanding something about New Zealand and history. And I'm like, to me it's like, really? Because I couldn't give a fuck. And he's serious as shit, like, and it's as if I should know, and I should, because this is really real and important to him. So it's identifying what rocks their boat, and I'm saying if it's important to them, if it's important to him. That's what I mean. In the world we have, there's always going to be someone that'll pump petrol, or if we wanted to, like, honestly, because I'm talking about my uncle, even, you know, he'd go back and pump petrol for the hell of it. But there's always people that are going to do things. There's always going to be someone that wants to be educated. There's always going to be someone. We're not all the same. We're not all just going to go and play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the reality is just enjoy, like you said. I'm really it's really cool that you looked at him and sat with him and talked about being present. This is what he's enjoying right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
God, like you said, 10 years time he might go and do Japanese. He goes, oh fuck, I wish I'd taken Japanese back then. But then it's relevant to him, and he'll want to do it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And he'll learn more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did
you still live at home, Lexi?
Sorry?
Do you still live at home? You're still with Mum?
I'm boarding in Waikato. Mum's in Hawke's Bay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, nice.
Two different continents.
Yeah.
And you're on a farm, eh?
Yeah, I am, and I really enjoy it. It's so lovely out here.
Oh, nice. Bit of freedom.
Yes,
peace.
And lovely views, and just away from everything.
See, there's freedom in different perspectives. She's going to school, she's doing this, but she's feeling freedom in the arena that's around her, even though she's feeling it in lots of places. But I think that's coming more the more you come to peace with who you are, and the more things, freedom's around you all the time. And the only stress or the over of working that is going to happen is what you're creating.
Yeah.
Because you love what you do.
Yeah, I do.
So
It's awesome. And so petrol station and mechanic, it kind of goes. It goes together.
The workshop that I've been doing some work experience is actually combined with Gull, so it works out really well.
Oh, fantastic.
And the boys are awesome. So yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well done. Oh, nice. Yeah, we are the creators of our life, as we are.
Yeah, we sure are, babe.
Yep.
Just to round up, there wasn't any feedback you wanted to give on the schooling stuff? Just because you're 19 and you've come out of school, how did you, that pressure of subject picking and stuff?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, I had the same thing with the languages, except it was more English. Like, when I got into year 13, I didn't want to do English as my last year. It just wasn't really me. And it was all like, oh, you have to take 2 subjects that have a lot of writing in it, kind of thing. And
you it was
just, pretty much. Yeah. So, it's interesting in that way what they kind of expect of you, but yeah, I guess you do just have to kind of put out the fact that actually it's not really what I want for myself. So
yeah.
And I think understandably so in the system and the schooling and the training and whatever, and that we run at this present point to where we are functioning from in identifying a different way of living now. They don't merge. They're still very this is how it's done, this is the formula we win, it's not there are some schools I think are about more helping kids get into things and stuff. I think there are those sort of stuff. But I think it's just like general public. It's just some of us have got still our head back in 20 years, 30, 40 years ago, and whereas a lot are now shifting into let's just stay present. Let's just keep while we're here, we'll enjoy what we can do and not worry about that next moment. Even though I don't think in ignorance, I don't think it's ignorance. I think it's more the awareness that it's not that we don't care, but it's not going to dominate our focus. That we miss everything else out in between because that's the only place we're going to. Very cool. Very cool chat, girls.
Yeah.
Good. Do you guys got anything you want to add to that, or
Not really, I don't think, for myself.
Yeah, cool.
I've had a good listen. Yeah.
Cool. I think it's just good that it all just comes back to self, like people will always say, and then you can
it's perfect. Almost time. No, almost time it must be. It's a sign. We always get the sign. But it is about self. But it's nice. Thanks for coming, Nets, because it's really nice to have a younger 19-year-old and a 50-year-old and whatever turn is. But at the end of the day, it's nice to have a variety like that with the different headsets. And it's not. You can see like. You are going to have such a different headspace than what we are at 40 and 50, and you're going to be able to enjoy more present moments, more experiences without, and I reckon that's what life's going to become. It's just everybody's just going to come and experience, and it's not going to be the dramatics that we've played it out for so long, because we're starting to weed through all that, and it's just getting
become aware.
I just think it's good also, Lexi, you can look back at this and, who knows what happens, another 5 years, you'll be like, wow. And you might get something from it, like something I watch these a lot of the time, and I don't join all of them, but I do get.
Oops, you're there.
I think she might have muted it or something.
You might have muted that. But I think you're there. No, your mic's off. I just saw your mic off. Yeah, there you go. You back?
Oh, I pulled out my plug.
There we go.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So if you can recall that'd be great.
So I said because you just go. Blah, blah, blah. So I was just saying that a lot of the time I watch these, and as I said, I don't join them all the time, but I get a lot out of them. So there'll always be something in it, and I'll be like, wow, and sometimes it puts my mind at ease a lot of the time, because I'm like, okay, not crazy, as in not crazy, but things that I sometimes see or feel or just notice in life. And then when I hear it come through with Alison, whoever else is there, I'm like, that makes sense. Yes. So you get something out of it all the time, and you might join another time and you'll get something totally different out of it. So
and I think like what Tanya's saying, if you watch this in 5 years, you go, oh, I think so differently now. And even from that, there'll be aspects of that, because it's forever changing. And nothing's set in concrete. It's just a nice. But I think, we can have a 19-year-old with an awareness and a 19-year-old that's got no awareness. We can have a 40-year-old with awareness, and we can have a 40-year-old with no awareness. It's all around us. I just think it's really exciting watching the younger ones come into play. And
be a normal vulnerability, because my first time in the Zoom room, I was a vulnerable mess. I was I was in tears. I was all over the shop, and I had to show the world my face without makeup, because I don't cake it on anymore.
No.
But the first night was really raw. I'd cried, and it was full on. So I probably won't go back and watch that one for a long time, but when I do, I can look back now and go, wow, because you see yourself in another light. When you look back at stuff like that, you're like,
actually hers is one of the first ones where we held it off for a little while, because I was pretty vulnerable, because she'd sat there and abused every other person on the earth. So we kept it back for a while, and I thought I'd give her 6 months maybe, and whether I put it up or not, I wasn't too phased. But the reality is, she messaged me what was about a week or 2 weeks later, and she goes, nah, put it up. And as soon as she put it up, I think it was liberating for her as much as it was humiliating for her, as much as that she felt and went through all those emotions. The reality was, I couldn't
look at myself. I couldn't actually see myself like that, because I'd never seen myself like that, and not with people that I didn't really know that well. So that was huge. And so it opened my eyes. But since then, a lot of things have shifted. And from, as I said, I went into a job that Alison helped me see that there were old aspects of myself, and I didn't know every person that I was meeting. It was just, whoa, it just become, and then put it out there and left that job, got another job that I thought was me, but what the hell was I thinking? And then this vulnerability. So it obviously had to happen to bring it to this, because that was an old me that was just building, and I had to face myself to see that and understand a little bit more about myself. And I thought I knew it, but not like this. So
I think it all exists. It's always there. So if we want to go back and plan it, we can. It's a choice. And once we get the realization that all the playgrounds are choices, I definitely see a lighter, Tanya. And the reality is, I loved the Tanya that went off as well. So there's no difference. It's just who she's choosing at this present point in time, and she has the freedom to do that. And I'm not here to judge her for it. And I think that was the gift for all of us. And I think everybody's. And I mean, that's what a 19-year-old can give this as well. That's what I'm saying, is what Tanya's given us is just. You've got a beautiful delivery of just being an understanding and not and awareness that we do. This does go on, whether we're 19 or 40. But if you can master, stop the bully inside yourself, you'll be home and hosed.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, it must be getting late over there. But thanks for joining us. And
nice to meet you, Lexi. You're a beautiful girl, and you'll just be fine. Be happy.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
Okay.
Always good. Pleasure to see you. Thanks, Sally.
Thanks, Tanya.
Thank you, Ellie.
You're welcome. Bye.